Hey, how you doing? I'm Barry. Welcome to the channel. I've been retired after 40 years of being an electrician, and I have taken up the hobby of quilting as my hobby. I want you to join along with me as I try to learn the best that I can. I make mistakes, but I hope you can overlook some of them. But today, I wanted to work on trying to make a hanging wall hanging quilt. I want to try to do this for my grandson. After I tell you the story, you may think that I probably shouldn't, but I will. But if you've seen the thumbnail, hopefully I put it in a thumbnail. I'm going to make a ship. I saw this as a block. You can make this as a block, and I've seen where people make quilts out of it, where they just do it redundant. I'm just going to, and I would think if you're going to do that one, to make that particular block, I would make them maybe at least no more than 3-inch finished blocks. But I made mine 4, and I added some more on the sides and the bottom and the top to give it a little bit more width and height. But I had this fabric I bought from Walmart. I thought this would pop as the sails, so that's what I'm doing with those. I bought this and this fabric. This has just got navy blue with anchors on it, so that's gonna represent the ship. This has like a world map on it, a ship, anchor, a compass. I'm using that as my sky, and then I picked this up, this blue. I like to think of the Caribbean, going on a cruise. That's my, I picked that for the water. So we're gonna lay this out. And I started, people have commented about starching. So I starched these. This is my first time starching. Is that a word? Starching? I starched these, and I really like it. It gives it a little bit more firmness, which I really like. The only thing that I noticed was I did these last night, and they got to be curling up on the ends. So I don't know, tell me, am I using too much starch? What am I doing wrong or maybe it's the fabric that I'm using. I think this is cotton here. Why is it curling up on the end? But, so I went and ironed them again this morning, and they seem to be doing really good. Other than that, and piecing these, I know that, people, the professionals, which I say anybody that's not me, I know you can chain stitch these down. I'm not going to do that today. I just don't have, I can't keep track of this stuff, so I'm just going to stitch these across in rows, iron them out, and then I'm going to piece them together. To me, that's the way my brain's working. But I agree, if you could stitch this whole section here down and then add to it, would probably be the proper way. But we're going to do it my way today. It's not always about me. It's mostly about me. That's why I kept telling my daughter all the time. So anyways, here's my story. I just started, well, I've been doing YouTube videos for a long time, but I never really had anybody hardly watch. So I've never really had to worry about it. But I hate to tell you this, but there's some people out there that are a little bit on the, maybe they need medication side. I'll just say that. And I had this guy comment about my guitars, and I mentioned, if you go back and look at one of my second videos, a guy commented on my video and said, hey, give me one of your guitars. He didn't say, can I have one, or can you sell me one? He says, hey, give me one of your guitars. I didn't think much about it, and I just said, they're not for sale. And then the next video I put out, he commented and says, hey, I want one of your guitars. And that's when I said in the video, these are knockoffs. They're not the real thing. If those were the real guitars, the one would be worth like $7,000, but they're just a knockoff. I paid like $150 for it. So I was I just said, that's why I made it in a video. I made a point out, you know, don't come looking in my house trying to break in. You're going to get a $150 guitar. That's new. That's not resale value. So then the third video I put out, he says, hey, I live, and he names the town that little small town that I live in. He goes, I live in that town too. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy actually knows where I live, which, you know, I don't really care about that unless you're crazy. But you know, I try to keep my personal stuff, you know, away that you know, I don't want to get broken into. So he started worrying me and then disappeared. I didn't hear from him for 3 or 4 videos until I think last video or the video before, I think it was the video before last. He goes, I want your TV. And I'm like, go buy your own TV. Best Buy sells them all day long. He goes, no, I want yours. And so the little story behind this is I have guns. And I usually keep my guns, when my grandkids come over, I usually keep my guns unloaded for when they come over, just because, you know, you don't want accidents to happen. But I literally had to go and load my guns. I was like, well, this guy knows where I live, and he's already making threats that he wants my stuff. And, you know, you never know. You never know. So I call up my daughter last week, and I told her, I said, hey, this guy, he's telling me he wants my guitar, and then he tells me he wants my guns. He knows where I live, blah, 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 blah. And she starts laughing, and I'm like, what the heck is so funny? And she says, I went to breakfast today with your grandson, and it is your 11-year-old grandson. He's pranking you. I like, that is not funny. Do you hear me? He's watching. That's not funny. Give me a heart attack. So anyways, that's my little story. That's my stalker. My stalker is my 11-year-old grandson. So here we are. I am going to, like I said, I'm going to sew these rows all together. I'm going to try to press one way, press another way, press, and so on until I get these all done. And then I'm going to take these and fold these on, or iron them all out. Sew this row with this row and keep on, and then probably this row with this row, add them together and add this row, and we're done. I think I'm going to put a 2-inch border around this, of this navy. I think it would look cute. Can we say that? So let's get started and see how we do. Okay, I got everything pressed, all my rows sewn together and pressed. My concern is, and I've got to figure out why, some of my blocks are not lining up. You know, it should be all, they're all 4.5 inches unfinished. So I would have thought that when I sewed them all together, they should be all in a line. Pretty much, there's a few of them that are not. And I don't know what's going on with them. Maybe we can stretch them a little bit and get them to fit. But anyways, that's what I'm going to do next, is I'm going to start taking these rows like this, putting them together, sewing them, and then we'll wrap it up. So let's check it out. All right, take a look here. I pieced it all together, ironed it out. Like I said, the big takeaway from this is starch is your friend. The other takeaway is not all my points match up, and I got to figure out why. And it seemed to be with these half square triangles not matching up with my standard blocks, even though they were the same size. Maybe because they pull, I don't know. But I fake it till you make it. And so this is what I'm going to do in this video. On the next video, I'm going to add the borders. I'm going to sandwich it, and I'm going to quilt it. And while I got you here, let me go, hold on. Don't go away, right here. I bought a, I don't know if you can see this, but I bought a ruler foot. And I bought, this is called Sid. It's a ruler, what do you call it? Free motion ruler work template. I got it from Angela Walters on Creative Grids. I'm going to try to, I don't know if I'm going to use this on it and make, because these are sort of like waves. Or I might straight line quilt it at a crosshatch style. But I thought I would give this a try. I got a good deal. Usually these things are expensive, but I get a good deal on this thing. So we're going to try to do some free motion ruler work on this the next video. And don't go away, I got one more. If you look at my videos, in the last couple of videos, I have this jar. It sits right here behind me on the shelf. I've got to clean it up. I've had it for years. I decided that I thought it would be fun to start the Memory Makers Button Club. And the rules are simple. I got a P.O. box. I'll link below or on my main page. I got a P.O. box. Send me a button that you have, and I will put it in the jar, and that way you will always know that you're a part of the channel because that button will be right there. But I want you to give me a button and maybe write a little note. Don't write a book, but write a little note of what, hopefully that represents some memory for you, whether it's about your family, your kids, your grandkids, your parents, some trip to California that you had when you were growing up, or maybe it's a goal or something that you want to do in the future, whatever. Just write a little note, send me the button. That's all it takes to become a member of the Memory Makers Button Club. I had to think about that for a second. But yeah, I'd love to share your button with everybody. I will read your name, your first name, your city, state, or country. And let's see if we can have some fun with that. Maybe nobody will send me a button, but you should join the Memory Makers Button Club. It is a exclusive club, and it only costs you a button. But having said that, I'm going to let you go. But remember, and I'm changing my saying a little bit, after health, but before wealth, there's memories. So go out and make some memories, and I will see you later. Bye.